Hello, I'm Kelly Jockum, and I'm here with Marion Blackburn, who's seeking re-election for my district, District 3, on Greenville City Council. Marion has served a strong voice for neighborhoods, public safety, and environmental issues, and has also worked hard for our greenways and parks. Marion, can you describe more your district?
Yes, thank you so much, and it's great to be here. District 3 is a very unusual district in that it includes a lot of our older neighborhoods, and it has a very distinctive mix of residents. As far as the geography of the district, it starts right at the university, right at downtown, front door of downtown, and then it stretches along the river, all the way to Green Springs Park. It includes the neighborhoods College Court, Cog Hill, Colonial Heights, goes east to River Hills, and so there's a lot of folks that have been in Greenville for a long time. There are also a lot of people who are here attending school, graduate students, young professionals, retirees. Cypress Glen is in District 3, so it's really a wonderful district, a dynamic mix of people, and it's really an honor for me to represent the district.
So, as you were saying, District 3 seems very distinctive and has an incredible mix of people living there. What are some of the main issues for this district this campaign season?
Well, I have to start with public safety, because really as a city council, as a city, our first duty, our moral duty, is to protect our residents and make sure that they're safe. We have a new police chief, Hassan Aden, who has done a really good job of bringing new ideas and new ways to analyze and prevent crime and to catch folks who have committed crimes. He uses a statistical analysis approach, and you've probably heard about the term hotspots. This is where we make sure that our officers are in the locations where crimes are more likely to happen, the days and the times of day when crimes are more likely to happen. In addition, our officers are more visible than ever. They're out among our neighborhoods. You may have seen them on bikes. They're on the Greenways, and they are really a visible presence and just a part of our community, having that direct engagement with people. Another safety issue that's been very important for me is making sure that we have a safe downtown. And when I say a safe downtown, I mean a safe 24-hour-a-day downtown. Whether you go down for lunch at Starlight or Tipsy Teapot, or whether you're there in the afternoon, or maybe you're walking to the town common, or whether you've been at one of our nightclubs and you're coming home late at night, maybe you walk into the University District. Whatever your reason for being downtown and wherever you're going when you leave downtown, I want to make sure that you feel safe. One of the strategies to do that has been to make sure that our police officers are active and engaged with the types of activities that are taking place at any time of the day. For instance, when our nightclubs close in the morning, our officers now are making sure that they fan out into the district east to make sure that for those folks walking home that there's that additional layer of safety. Another strategy that our police officers have used and will continue to use is to look at those times of the year when maybe neighborhoods of District 3 are more vulnerable. Because we do have a lot of students, and as you know, I'm a full-time student myself, there's times of the year when students are less likely to be in the neighborhood. And those are holidays, the spring and fall break, and of course in the summer. And during those times of the year, we need to make sure that if people are away, that neighborhoods are still safe. And so our officers are making those additional patrols and keeping an eye to make sure that just because you're out of town, your home is still going to be safe.
Well, that's really good to hear, because like I said before, I'm a resident of your district and I live actually in Wyndham Court. So for instance, how can you tell me, or what can you tell me is really helping my neighborhood specifically?
And that's a great question. I'm glad you asked specifically about your neighborhood, because I can tell you, as I would tell anyone that would ask me about their street, their neighborhood, whatever concerns they have. I did talk with our chief about your street, Wyndham, and the homes around your area. And what we were talking about is how exactly can I assure you that you're going to be safe. What Chief Aden said to me is, again, using that statistical approach, using the statistical analysis, when is it more likely that your neighborhood would be vulnerable? And what kinds of vulnerabilities do you have? And what he shared with me is that I think you mentioned you've seen patrol cars driving through. As a matter of fact, there is additional patrol in that area because there is a lot of coming and going. And that area is one of the areas of focus. It is a hot spot in the sense that just to make sure, because there is so much coming and going and because it is a vulnerable area, there is that additional layer of police protection. So you can, now of course we still have to play our part. We can't rely on our officers because they can't be at my house, in my front yard, 24 hours a day. They can do a good job, but they can't be there all the time. What can we do as neighbors? Well, our first job is to look out for ourselves and look out for our neighbors. That means if we see someone that we don't recognize in our neighborhood, someone, you know, just because there's someone we don't recognize doesn't mean there's a problem. But oftentimes, if you see someone that looks unfamiliar, you don't recognize them, keep an eye. Especially if you see that person going into someone's yard or going into their house. Now, I've had just heartbreaking stories where someone will say, well, I saw this truck in your yard and I didn't call the police. Well, there's a truck in the yard and, you know, in a worst case scenario, perhaps even bringing things out of the house. I mean, those are situations where we can step up and we can take that responsibility to look out for our neighbors. Likewise, we have community watch programs, and these are great opportunities because we really can get organized and block by block during those times of year when maybe it's the holidays and people are traveling. Well, this block captain is going to look out on this night, and another block captain will look out on another night. So we can really be engaged and active with a neighborhood watch program. And I think last, you know, it's important to remember that safety begins at home. And neighborhoods really are our home. And we can look out for our home and look out for each other because our neighbors are our family.
Great. So, like you're saying, safety is very important near the university. But what about the other neighborhoods?
Some of the same approaches that we've used near the university. Granted, we do have a lot of people walking from downtown, from our shops, walking back and forth from class, and we do have a lot of folks that may have later hours, you know, again, coming back from downtown late at night. In other neighborhoods, what we really have to do is, again, those approaches that we were just talking about, neighborhood watch programs, looking out for our neighbors. I get calls where people will say, you know, I have a neighbor and I'm concerned about that I haven't seen activity in the house. Mm-hmm. Can someone look at the house? The house looks vacant. Can someone tell me what's going on? There's a pool and nobody has emptied the water out of the pool. Is there somebody living there? And what we can do is find out, is there a safety hazard? Is there a reason that nobody's been at that house? And at some point we can become engaged. So again, it's looking out for our neighbors, and especially in some of our older neighborhoods where you may have older people who may not be able to do for themselves, and so we can really look out for each other. And these are concerns that I think are throughout District 3, because we really do have some of the city's older neighborhoods. Yes, we certainly do.
You've always been such a strong supporter for neighborhoods. What does that exactly mean, and why is that important?
I'm glad you asked about neighborhoods, because a lot of times people say, you know, I'm a neighborhood advocate, or I believe in neighborhoods, and we really do need to kind of break it down and see what that means. Neighborhoods, again, neighborhoods are our home. It's where our homes are, and our neighbors are our family. So when we talk about neighborhoods, we want places where we feel safe. We want places where we can come home at the end of the day, and whether we rent or whether we own, whether I'm a student, whether I'm a retired professional, or whether I teach school, whatever my profession, when I come home at the end of the day, I should be able to find peace and quiet and a sense of, you know, belonging. And that's what a neighborhood is. So when I talk about being a neighborhood advocate, what I mean by that is I want to make sure that when you go at home at night, you can feel you can find that peace that you're looking for. I also want to make sure that if you want to go to a park, you'll have a park nearby. In your case, of course, the Greenways nearby. We love the Greenway, and I spend a lot of time on the Greenway. Hopefully one day we'll have the Greenway that goes all the way east, so that all of our neighborhoods east will have the ability to get on the Greenway. And of course, we're working on a Greenway west. To me, these are components of good neighborhoods where you've got all aspects that are going to make that neighborhood so livable. Safety, peace, quiet, nearness to things you may want to go see. I guess the last aspect of being a neighborhood advocate means working for the right kind of growth. And that means making sure that we have commercial development in the right places. like development together, commercial development in those places where it's appropriate, but not too close to our neighborhoods, because we want to make sure we preserve and protect that quality of life.
Now, how else do you represent neighborhoods?
I guess when you look at the full picture of neighborhoods, you have to look at things, again, parks, greenways, safety, the right kind of growth. I think another aspect of neighborhoods, especially now, is our sidewalks. Really excited about all the sidewalks that we're seeing throughout Greenville. And what this does is it really joins our neighborhoods, so that if I want to go visit you, it's a bit of a walk from where I live, but you know, there is a sidewalk now starting at Port Terminal Road, where theoretically I could get on a sidewalk and walk all the way to your house. We need to think that way. We need to think about bringing our neighborhoods together, because the more we're together, the more we can communicate, and that creates that great quality of life that we want to see in our neighborhoods. I guess the last aspect of advocating for and standing up for neighborhoods is making sure our homes keep their value. For many of us, our home is our biggest investment. We need to make sure that our homes keep their value. If I'm a renter, I want to make sure that my home is safe and that it's a good place to live, and that means it keeps its value as well. So that's another aspect of neighborhood preservation and standing up for neighborhoods.
Now, you've mentioned parks a lot, and I know that's a very big priority for you. I know that we are getting some things right, although we do need some work in other areas. Let's start with, what are we doing right?
Well, and thank you for asking about parks. I do enjoy talking about parks. I strongly believe in parks. I think maybe in the past, because especially here in Eastern North Carolina, we were rural. We had lots of open spaces. We really had a lot of opportunities to get out and play. Mm-hmm. I grew up on a tobacco farm. My park was, you know, acres and acres and acres. Greenville is a different community now. Eastern North Carolina is different, but specifically here, we are a bigger place. We're more urbanized, and we just don't have those opportunities to get out and run in a field and play. That's why parks are more important than ever. Now, what have we done right? Well, what we've done right, we talked about the Greenways, and I could spend our entire program talking about Greenways and how important I believe they are. But things that we've done right, we have our new Drew Steele Center. That's an area, that's a park that's open for everyone, and it really is accessible to everyone. I think we can all feel very proud about it. We also have the new Styling Stadium at Elm Street Park, and again, looking at our Greenway, we've now got 6 miles of Greenway, and it starts at our town common, goes all the way to Green Springs Park, Elm Street, and back again. So those are some of the things that I think we're getting right. We have a dog park, our Extreme Park, and certainly Eastside Park, where one day we're going to have trails. These are all things we can feel good about.
Great. So what is your vision for the Greenways?
Before we move away from parks, I'd like to get back. You said, what have we gotten right? And I would like to add that some things where I would like to see us work in the future. What I'd like to see us do more of in the future is make sure that we're allocating our resources. I think in the past, parks were not considered a priority for our capital resources. Maybe we haven't done what we should have to make sure our parks were funded. And what I'd like to see us do going forward is raise parks in our funding priority, make sure that we put aside the capital funds to do more with our parks, because we've really fallen behind. I guess that's how you have to say it, and needs to be more of a priority, especially for funding. So, and I'm sorry, you asked, what was my vision for Greenways?
Yes.
Greenways, yes. What I'd like to see us do with Greenways is, and they're beautiful places, and I'll just take a minute to talk about why I think Greenways are important. They are beautiful places. They're places where we can get out, and if we're on a bike, if we're pushing a stroller. I'm a runner. I think you said you were too. We like to get out and run the Greenways. People walk. All kinds of uses, recreational uses for the Greenway. But let's talk bottom line. One of the things that we're looking at in Greenville, it's a blessing. We're growing. We have lots of cars. We have lots of people going places. We're doing a lot of repaving and resurfacing right now, and that's good, because that's going to give us a better, safer way to travel. But if we continue to grow, which we are, we're going to need different ways to get around. Otherwise, we're going to find ourselves facing sprawl, traffic jams, and basically an ongoing funding burden with roads. So here's where greenways come in, and this is why they make sense, fiscal sense. When we are able to take cars off the road, and we're able to give people the opportunity to ride a bike from 33 East to the hospital, to campus, or someone who lives in the west of Greenville, they can ride their bike to campus. When we have that ability, we're taking cars off the road and we're giving people the opportunity to be healthier. So that's a win-win. And I would say a win-win-win because it's also beautiful. So my vision for Greenways is west to east, from the hospital to Portertown Road. Then we go north of the river, south, possibly down Evans Street. I'm not an engineer, but north-south. Once we get an east-west, north-south axis, we're going to be able to travel all over our city. And if you don't want to take a car, you're not going to have to. You can take your bike, you can walk, push that stroller. If you're in a wheelchair, you'll be able to get around and you don't have to use a car. I would like to also add that it's very heartbreaking for me in my district, especially at 10th Street where it intersects with Greenville Boulevard, but there are other places where this happens. There are people whose main mode of transportation is wheelchair. We absolutely must make sure they're safe, and it breaks my heart when I see people in wheelchairs who have whatever kind of disability, and they are in the middle of a very busy street with cars coming all around them. We need to make sure they're safe, and a greenway can help do that as well. So greenways are beautiful places, yes, but in a very bottom line way, greenways are a way we're going to be safer, we're going to get cars off the road, we're going to save money because we don't have to build so many roads, and we're going to keep all of our people safer and give them a better way to travel through our city.
That really is a heartbreaking story, and I completely agree with you on the greenways, so that's fantastic to hear. What about the town common? I'm glad you asked about the town common, and again, just to kind of place it in context, we are talking a lot about greenways and parks. This fits in with, and I'm going to diverge just a minute to talk about the importance of our parks and greenways with economic development. Economic development is critical right now for our community, and I hear a lot of people saying, what about jobs? What are you doing for jobs? We need to make sure we bring jobs, and we need to make sure we bring those high-paying jobs with benefits. Now, how do you do that? In a very simple way, you need to make sure that you're a city people want to do business in. And how do we do that? It gets back to neighborhood, it gets back to safety, neighborhoods, all those things that indicate we're a progressive community. I talk a lot about solar panels. These are things that say, come to Greenville. We're progressive, we're growing, we have an open mind, we want your business and you're going to do well here. So within that context, parks are very important. Now, our town common really is our public face, town common and downtown. These are the first places that visitors are going to see. There has been some talk of development on the town common. There's been talk of retail development, condos, parking lots, and this is something that I've opposed and opposed very strongly. The town common is a public place, it's public land, it has a lot of historical significance, and it's an area that once we start building on, we can't go back. So I've been a very vocal supporter of keeping our town common as a public park. Now, does that mean we can't do anything on the town common? No, we need to do more with our town common, and I have advocated to do more with the town common. For instance, simple things we can do. I would like to see us renovate our amphitheater. And I don't know what that means, but we can renovate it. We can make it look brighter and cheerier. We can put some shading up. As you know, if you've been in the town common this summer, that Greenville sun is mighty hot, and we can put some canvas shades. The front of our Maynard Children's Hospital has those wonderful shades, and it's visually engaging, it's cheerful, and we can do some of that at the town common. Picnic tables, simple steps, and in the summertime, or maybe all year long, food carts
food vendors. I think all of us would like to be able to get some ice cream at the town common. Some other things that we can do, again, not expensive things. We can put in a new pier and you know, flowers. Very simple, inexpensive steps we can take to make our town common more engaging. Now, there are people that say, oh, but we've got this multi-million-dollar master plan for the town common. We're never going to get there. Well, you know, we don't have to be there tomorrow. And maybe we won't ever do all elements of that town common master plan. Maybe we will, and I hope we can do some of the elements. But in the meantime, we can do some things, and we can do some affordable things. What we can't do is say we're going to cash in our town common for building. To me, that is just a wrong step for our community, and I'll continue to advocate for our town common as a public park. It belongs to the public, it belongs to us.
Great. Now, you mentioned jobs before in relation to parks and safety. So economic development is obviously a very important topic for this campaign season, and people want to know what you can do to attract jobs. So how are you planning on bringing good jobs to Greenville?
Absolutely, and that is probably a topic that's on a lot of people's mind. We have opened our Office of Economic Development, really proud of all the good work that, that's been done there. We now have an economic incentive program. So we're actually able to say, if you've got, you know, you got your project and it's going well, but you're maybe this close, you need something to kind of help affirm that commitment to Greenville. We can help. This is not. These are plans that allow us to provide assistance, but these are also ways that we will experience revenue and benefit. So these are truly partnerships where we can help startups, and in turn, they're going to contribute to our tax base. I think we can all feel very good about some of the businesses that we've seen taking shape. Of course, the new Georgetown apartment complex that's rising at Reed and Cotanch. That's going to be apartments. It's going to be a parking deck, and it's also going to have retail shops. It's just going to be so much good activity. That's going to be people that are coming and going to our downtown, to campus, riding bikes. We've got our new transit center that we've approved. This is all in the same area. So this is going to create a lot of sense of activity. Talked about the town common, how important it is. Talked about our greenways. So, okay, what does this mean for economic development? Again, we want to say to the world, Greenville is awake. Greenville is open-minded. Greenville is a place where you're going to do well. We want you to come. We want you to come be here. What kinds of economic development are we looking for? We are trying to make sure that we are able to recruit and attract what I call new economy jobs. These are jobs in information technology. These are jobs in clean energy. These are jobs in biomedical research, biotech research. We already have sort of an incubator on Green Street. So these are the new economy jobs, entrepreneurs who are thinking in different ways. It used to be that you thought in terms of your basic manufacturing. Now, we still do that, and we still love manufacturing and the jobs that they bring, but we want to make sure that we're open to all types of jobs. I've talked a lot about solar energy. I think solar energy is important for two reasons. One, it sends a message that we're progressive and we are visionary and we're moving forward. But we've also just approved our first solar farm in Greenville. Now, solar farms don't provide a lot of jobs, but they provide some jobs. A lot of solar farms will provide a lot of jobs. So again, we have to think in new ways. We have to think, how can we make use of all this great open space that we have in Pitt County and Greenville? Again, I think solar energy is a great way to do that. There are all kinds of jobs and ways to do business that we need to make sure we're connecting with the people who want to do that investment and make sure that they want to come to Greenville.
Now, we've covered a lot of information, so for our last topic, I would like to ask you about yourself. You're a full-time graduate student at ECU, and what are you studying?
I am, and thank you for asking. I'm a full-time graduate student, as you say. I'm in the Master of Public Administration program. And the reason I'm enrolled in this program is because I wanted to find a way to, I take my responsibility as a city council member very seriously. I am a public servant, and we oversee a $70 million budget every year, as well as decisions that are going to affect the future of Greenville today, certainly, but for years and years to come. So I wanted to make sure that I had the tools that I needed to be the best policymaker possible, and to make sure that the policies that we worked on and developed would have those great effects for the future. And it has really been a great program, a great opportunity. I can't say enough good things about the university and the folks that I've studied with. I would like to within that context, one of the courses that I had was economic development, and we looked at some very kind of nuts and bolts figures that you get, you know, from the figures that you get that have to do with where growth trends and how can you sort of capture those growth trends. So that was really good when you look at economic development, to really kind of get in there. And although our staff does most of that kind of planning, it was good for me to see how you can see where trends are and see how you can be part of them. One thing when we were talking about economic development that I wanted to kind of revisit, you can look at growth trends and economic trends. One thing that we have just done that's going to allow us to, when we find those businesses that want to come here, make sure that that we're able, again, to put our best face forward. We just got the results of a new branding and marketing study, and this was North Star, and they did a wonderful job. And we now have a new logo, which is, again, it's not Greenville really is its places and its people, but our new logo is a way to say, it's a way to convey a little bit of how proud we are to be here. And so when we contact those folks that are working in those areas that we want to try to recruit to Greenville, we can give them these materials with our logo and information about us. Again, they're going to want to come here, they're going to want to be part of who we are as a community. That branding study is also going to allow us to figure out ways we can reach out and better convey our message. So that was really a great study. I guess a last element that I'd like to mention, again, with economic development is, and this gets back to ECU, is what I call a multifunctional performing arts center. Even before I was a graduate student at ECU, I was already, and I think we're all feel so proud of the arts that we have at ECU and really in our entire community. Eastern North Carolina is just a place that's rich with writers. We have people who've studied theater, visual arts, we have ceramic artists, so many types of arts. So we have a multifunctional performing arts center. What I'd like for us as a city to do is to actually have a visiting artist program, and that would be funded by the city, and perhaps we can get those partners that will help make it possible. I think that's a very important element, whether it's with economic development, whether it's what we offer in terms of recreation, and again, it's a way that we can work more closely with East Carolina, with Pitt Community College, with the hospital, and the schools, the Chamber of Commerce, all of our partners. A performing arts center is really a way I think we can all come together and do that one project that's going to benefit all of us.
Well, thank you so much for talking with us. Our time is up, but thank you for joining us on Meet the Candidates, and vote for Marion Blackburn.
Thank you so much. And I'd just like to take a minute and say thank you so much for tuning in and for watching. I want to thank Kelly, who has done such a wonderful job today. Election Day is November 5th. Early voting starts October 17th and continues through November 2nd. I am Marion Blackburn. I'm running for re-election to the Greenville City Council to represent District 3, and I would really like to have your vote, whether you vote early or whether you vote on Election Day, November 5th. Thank you so much for your support.